I wanted to wait for the ending of that song before we start plenary number 4. So plenary number 4 is in relation to land claims agreement and culture. And we're going to have presenters talk about the successes and challenges in terms of our culture, which we're all trying to make sure continues to be strong and thrive. So we're going to start off with Chief Barb Joe to give her remarks.
Okay, good afternoon. My name is Chief Barb Joe from Champagne-Ajac First Nation in the Yukon, and I feel like I'm going to repeat a little bit from this morning. My First Nation name is Hukia, and it means clouds opening up in my language, Southern Shoshone. And I was named after an elder from Yukon, Whitehorse. She lived in the Whitehorse area, Elder Kitty Smith. I got the name at a naming ceremony for a potlatch when I was fairly young. And yeah, so I have to live up to the name. It means clouds opening up. So I was told every time I go in the room, I'm supposed to be clouds opening up. So my First Nation is Champagne-Ajac First Nation, and it's Shadala Yekade Ejai Yekadan. So that means that's how you say it in my language, which is Southern Shoshone. And I'm here to chat with you today about some of the successes and challenges that we have had with respect to our land claims agreements, how we incorporate innovative culture and language programming, and some of the challenges that we faced along the way. But I haven't done a land acknowledgement, and I failed to do that this morning, so I would just like to acknowledge the traditional Indigenous people from Ottawa Valley for being and allowing us to be in their territory today. I just ask for that permission. So Champagne-Ajac First Nation is a modern treaty nation. We've been self-governing, and we've had our final agreements in effect in February 14th, 1995. So during that time, we had it was just actually the creation of a whole government. There were citizens who worked with us, non-citizens, and in that time frame, they had to create this whole new government, take bits and pieces of what was good and bad about other governments, create a bureaucracy. And for our nation currently has almost 1,300 citizens. Those citizens are spread throughout our traditional territory, throughout Yukon, throughout Canada, and throughout Alaska and United States and abroad. So what happened was the final agreements and the self-government agreements incorporated the ability for our nation to create documents that we could use, laws we could use to enable us to do certain things. So if you look at our self-government agreement 13.6.2, I think, it allows us to create our own justice system. And we first started actually working a little bit on that. We haven't come to any conclusion like our colleagues from Teslin Tlingit Council, who have actually finished their administration of justice negotiations. We kind of started, and then there was bits and pieces, stops, momentum was lost. The First Nation, and I just put it to the wayside, but through that process, we were exploring traditional ways of incorporating our values into a justice system. And that took a bit of time and thinking. We had to talk about the crow, the wolf, the moiety system that we have. We had to chat about our traditional ways of dispute resolution. Because we know, in our final agreement, I think it might be chapter 26, we have the ability to create a dispute resolution system, but that's not our system. That's a totally different system based on whatever it is, mediation, maybe arbitration. So we worked a bit with our elders, and we started working on a system that was based on the old stories, and they told it very clearly to me. I had about 10 elders tell me the story of how they used to do traditional dispute resolution. But because mandates from mostly the federal government, that was put to the side for us. We haven't even looked at it for about 10, 12 years. We hope to at some point in time, because that will help us. And you heard this morning I was talking about our on-the-land programs. We have things that our guardians can do, and monitoring and doing a number of things on our land. Need the ability to enforce our laws, which we don't have yet. The First Nation has passed about, I think it's about 10 laws. Some of those laws are very Western, Fish and Wildlife, maybe Lands Act. Some of them, though, are based on our traditions, so I can't say the name. I get mixed up in how you say it, but it's our Enrollment Act is based on some of our traditional values. We followed the process that was recommended through our land claims agreement, what was outlined to us, but we've changed it. So we've changed that process of creating our own enrollment process, and you have to have a direct connection to our nation. You have to prove that you come and you visit with us, spend time with us, be on the land. That's one step, but there's another step as well. I can't think of it right now off the top of my head. So those were just a couple of ways that we've incorporated some of the statutory items, and we have the abilities through our land claims agreement, through our self-government agreements to do that. Another one is our Language Act. In 2014, it was recognized by our First Nation. I've only been a chief, well, just over 2 years, so I have another 20 months left till my term's over. So this came from the previous chief, who was a chief for 8 years. There was a creation of a Language Act. In that act, it was recognized that our languages are slowly dwindling in numbers. You know, we have like elders that maybe we have about 5 expert speakers. It's recognized that we really need to start focusing on our Language Act. And again, that was passed, and it helps identify and recognize that our citizens have to connect back to culture and language is critical to culture, and it's to restore and revitalize our language. So kind of going hand in hand with that, we've also, I did speak a little bit about it this morning, we have a language immersion program. Champaign-Ajax started a language immersion program. I can't remember exact date, but we are in our 3rd cohort. The first cohort was 3 years, the second cohort was 2 years, and now we're in our 2nd year of the 3rd cohort. The purpose is to create intermediate language speakers within Southern Shoshone culture. And it kind of came in little spurts. There were some issues. There was issues that when they first started the program, they realized that some of the students maybe not at par to where they should be. There were some issues with social issues, so they had to redo some of the things. They had to bring in counselors. The program was really tied in with not only classroom teachings, but you also had to spend time out on the land with the expert language teachers. And so that happened, and the language teachers are telling us, well, you know what, we need a break. And so they recommended to us, you need to get our citizen speakers, the intermediate ones, up to a par where they're able to take over and start doing the actual language instruction and having them doing the instruction to the students. So the students that we have about maybe, like probably Cheyenne, she's one of our language speakers here, maybe over near 30. And those citizens who've graduated, working in Yukon Native Language Center, in our daycare, they're helping out with the program. So we've got that happening too. And again, as I said before, that happens, they do quite a bit of classroom teaching and understanding of how the connection of languages to the context. The First Nation has created a cultural center. This was negotiated agreement with Parks Canada and Yukon Territorial Government to create a building space that was able to not only be a place where visitors to our territory and our land can come and they can see museum curated pieces, but also be able to see photos of our relatives, to be able to connect with citizens of our nation, hear a little bit of the language, and to be able to be a space where they can look at an interactive floor map on the ground, to look at what our traditional territory is, not just in English, the English version, but it is in our language. So see the trail, see who we are and whatnot. And a lot of it was just about relationship building, and there was a strong relationship created with Parks Canada and the territorial government, who also has a visitor center in the space. So that's been happening. It's probably maybe 15 years old. If you ever go to Haines Junction, I mentioned this morning, I forgot to mention to you guys that we're situated in the southwest corner of Yukon, and we're about an hour and a half from Whitehorse, which is the capital city of Whitehorse. But you'll see Daku, it's a very big building. They use it for meetings, and people rent the space and whatnot. So we've added a little bit of culture and programming within that as well. Tied into that, every year, or every 2 years, we have a celebration of our dancers. They come to Daku and they have an opportunity to connect with us, to provide their dance performances, to try some of our food, to be able to meet with their relatives and camp out for 3 days. And so at Daku, there is space for our dancers who are called Dakwakata dancers. In the language, Dakwakata means high cache, but that's where Haines Junction is the Western name. So high cache is where our citizens used to use the space to store food when they would be traveling along the trail system from either Cluckshoe to go north, and then they keep it there in a safe place in a high cache. So we have the dance group, and the First Nation has supported that very well. Associated with that, we have a regalia program. So the dance group also does regalia, and they make regalia to use in their performances. But the First Nation has created a grad regalia program like other First Nations in the Yukon, where we have grads who are graduating like this year, who are able to come together and work in the space either at Daku or in Whitehorse. We've got space in the Whitehorse area, as well as 3 community halls, to be able to have the opportunity for graduates and their parents to come together and learn how to make items, traditional regalia and whatnot before they graduate. So that happens. It's a bit of the cultural programming again. 3 minutes, okay, better get going. Culture camps, I spoke about this morning. We do quite a few culture camps on the land. We have right from annually, like following the seasonal round, gopher camps. We have camps for what they call shakat in our language, which is the annual gathering where people get ready for winter, so they get their winter, their winter fish and their moose and all of that stuff. We have a number of different camps. A few years ago, we had a fellow come from the coast to teach a traditional craft that we have, which is dugout canoes. So that has also happened in our area. Some of the challenges that the staff have said is that we have, because during COVID times, the pandemic in 2020, and the ability for people to learn wasn't quite easy, because we know we had to go on Zoom. So some of the language classes were a little harder to do, and you couldn't really do it out in the land unless there was more social distancing. So you've seen some of those challenges. We know that it's very difficult because we always try to wrap the Western way of thinking around into a culture, when really we should be, like we call it Dunkei, we should have our own way of doing things and not thinking about wrapping the Western way around into our culture. But because of our final agreement and some of our laws and the way they're situated within our self-government agreement, we need to think about those processes and how to make them ours. So that's always a struggle of trying to create Dunkei within a Western-based system. Again, we always have problems with resources, lack of capacity, funding. We have resource issues around Some of our departments still have to write proposals, like for the dance celebration, have to do that, plus the reporting associated with that stuff. So those are some of the issues that have been identified within the organization. Yeah, so we noted this morning too that we have to have one point person to be able to organize our camps, because in the past you were seeing multiple departments organizing events and sometimes they'd land on the same date. So by having one person coordinate those types of events such as, I don't know, snowshoe making and the men's harvest camp and those kinds of things, it's easier if one person kind of coordinates it. So we're working on that, but I would like to just thank everybody for taking the opportunity to listen to me today, and I would like to say Gwynis Cheese in our language as well, so Shoni Thun, it means thank you very much, and Nanojishi means I shall see you again.
Right on time. Thank you, Chief Barb Joe. Now we'll move on to Tammy Steinward.
Masi, good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to begin. I too, in my presentations, have been forgetting land acknowledgement of the Anishinaabe Algonquin people of this land. We thank you for the invitation to come and be here with you to share and also learn. Masi. So this presentation, we're supposed to talk about successes and challenges in relation to culture and with our agreements. As I shared earlier, everything that we do at provincial government, or sometimes we say TG, is all about language, culture, and way of life. How we're to continue to preserve it, protect it, and promote it. I want to begin by first acknowledging our leadership. We're very fortunate to have leaders that are fluent Tlincho Yeti speakers. So I'd like to ask our Grand Chief if he's here, and our 3 chiefs that are traveling with us, if they're here, to please stand. So our leadership, so here we have Adeline. She's our first woman chief in our region, and Doreen is not able to be with us. I don't see Grand Chief, he might be meeting somewhere, but our leadership often hold our meetings all in Tlincho Yeti, and along with them we have assembly members. I'd like for the assembly members, if you're here, to please stand. Each of our communities have 2 assembly members assigned, and all of them are also fluent speakers. When we travel to events such as this, we like to bring our drummers with us, and that's an important part of who we are as Tlinchon people, to honor and celebrate our drumming and our songs and our dances. So I'd like for our drummers to please stand. I should have printed off, but when our travel staff members sent us all of our itinerary, it was 2.5 pages long of people's names. So anybody's here from Tlincho government, please stand. And all of you are really helping to promote language, culture, and way of life, and implementing our modern treaty. Please stand. Tiana. And a lot of our staff are young people. Masi. In addition to the staff that we have, we're again very fortunate to have many elders still with us today who have been born and raised out on the land. So they carry with them all of that knowledge, skill, and experience. So for that, we're very fortunate. We also have other citizens, adult age, many that have gone through residential school, but have also, after that experience, gone back to being out on the land and learning from their parents. And many of them are also our educators and teachers today. Recently, in the last few years, the Clinton government ran, I think I talked about this earlier, a 50-50 program. And that was a program that the Clinton government put $1 million aside to help citizens from the 4 Clinton communities to apply on up to $10,000 that Clinton government can contribute if that person contributed $10,000 themselves. So a maximum of $20,000 for anything to help people get out on the land or practice Clinton culture. So for women, if they wanted, they could buy a new sewing machine, materials. It could even be gear to help you get out on the land, equipment, building materials to have a cabin. Again, really trying to support our people to be out there more. We had programs running such as Dontatseidi, especially during COVID. That was a very important program where we were able to partner up elders with maybe a grandson because they had to be around the same family unit because of the restrictions around COVID, where together they would go out on the land and harvest, maybe checking the fish net, rabbit snares, different things like that, and then coming back with their catch to share with other community members. And because of COVID, we weren't allowed to go into the homes, so we would leave it outside, make sure we get somebody's attention that there was some traditional food there for them to bring in. So programs such as Dontatseidi. Dontatseidi means passing or sharing amongst the people. Like at a feast, when you're at a traditional feast, usually it's the men, when people are seated, they serve everybody. Dontagedi. So along the same lines, that's how we named that program. As much as possible, we're trying to give Clinton names to our programs. We have also, I mentioned earlier, specific trips for the women that are working on caribou hides to have, because some people don't have a means to get out. Like one of our oldest elders who still worked on hides a few years ago, she wanted to get some rotten wood to smoke her hide, but she didn't have a vehicle. So she called the office and we arranged for her to go out with a bear monitor, a driver, and some of the women to go with her to collect rotten wood for her hides. Once we do that, the word gets out, everybody else wants to do the same thing, right? That's how it goes. And so it becomes a program. Well, people want this, they need that, then let's put it into place. Same thing with berry picking in the fall. One program I'd like to highlight here is a program that for some young people. My mic is off. Oh. For some people in Betchako, it has been life-changing. It's the trapping program. William, are you here? Okay, can you stand up, please? So William here, Wiyellen, is retired from working at one of our diamond mines, and he's come to me a few times and said, we need to help our young people. They're in great need. They need to be out on the land and learn traditional ways to help them get back on track. So the last 2 winters, William has taken a group of young people out on the land. This last trip, I think last year he was out 65 days, teaching them how to do traditional trapping. And this is in an area in the Northwest Territories Ideji area where we have overlap agreements with Decho. So for some of those young people, it truly has been life-changing, and some of them have decided they need to go back to school. So thank you, William. Other things that we're working on that relates to culture is trying to gather all of our data and the information that we have, so creating a database to collect information that we already have. We have all kinds of information, stories, videos, pictures, documents from meetings from many years ago. I call it our beautiful mess. It's sitting there, and that beautiful mess, we need to start sifting through it and using that information to create resources for our communities, especially those that want to learn more. They don't need to always be out on the land to learn. Ideally, that's the best thing. That's the authentic way. But sometimes when you're at home and you just want to look up something, it's good to have access to that. So finding ways to help people to be connected even when they're at home. So that's another big one that we're working on right now. We're also working on an interpreter-translator program. Jasen, are you here? Jasen is my language manager, and she's working very hard to revive the old interpreter-translator program from the Northwest Territories. We're trying to clinchalize it, and we have in the back Peter and Pale. Can you stand up, please? Our two interpreters that are here with us, but our oldest interpreter, I would say, is approaching 80 years old. So we need to think of training the next generation. So that's another program that we're working on. We're talking about training the next group in a couple of months. Our hand games program is, as you saw yesterday, those of you that were able to be with us, very popular. We have a hand games tournament coming up, one in Gumiti and then another one in Betchakon. Did the Gumiti one happen already? Okay, it's coming up. Okay, great. I think it's this weekend. So there's a lot of things that are happening, and sometimes with that, the staff, I think it was shared too, the staff get burnt out, the community directors get burnt out. But at the same time, we're doing what we feel is really important. So to reach out and continue asking for that help, I think is a good thing. And especially when there are community people out there waiting to be asked. So that I feel that that's one, sometimes a challenge for people that they don't like to ask for help. I remember a story from a mentor, Dave Matthews, some of you might know him. He worked at the school in Yellowknife as a guidance counselor. And his job was to help get graduation, the gym all set up and ready. And long story short, he didn't ask anybody for help. He put all the tables and chairs out all by himself. And by the end of that, you could see that he was not very happy. So I want to share real quickly on a special program that we started. It's called Virtual Trails. It's really a connection to the trails of our ancestors, but finding a way to involve our elders. And that's all I'm going to say because I don't have much time. But if we can play that, please, Tom, the 249 video.
Nila din sana wasi khanile Nabadanchi kung sana wonde. They had always had and give thanks to the caribou and moose by using all parts of animal for clothing, foods, and tools.
Can I take it off? Sure. What a beautiful experience. Okay.
Good work.
Thank you. These people worked really hard.
It's a good job.
Did you like it?
Very good.
Do you want to keep going or you're done, Johnny?
What more?
So we're trying to find ways to involve and include our seniors that are in the senior home. After all, they still have very much to contribute, and we feel that their mental health and wellness is really important as well. And when we were trying that with them, there was one elder who was suffering with dementia, and she started to share on some of those places. So it's a very powerful tool. Just real quickly, in terms of challenges, what we're finding for on-the-land programming, culture programming is, number one, the cost to get out on the land. That's always an issue. Number two, I would say, is climate change. Safety of being out on the land. Right now, we can't trust ice thickness. It's very unpredictable. Wildlife patterns and also low water levels. Canoeing is a big part of our culture in the summer. So with less snow today, the water levels are quite low. Also with forest fires, they do a lot of damage to our trails. And then the other one is how quickly we're losing our knowledge keepers. So the importance of documentation. Masi.
Masi, Tammy. I'm now going to invite Lena Ivik to come and provide her remarks. 15 minutes.
Ulluku tamasi ino katika, nunavummiungo katika, innate makutuit. Good day, everyone. I'm very pleased to be here. Good day to our elders, our youth, and my fellow Nunavummiut. Neitimi uminga pigiago takagomayunga pirokpik inuit okausinganik ilikusinganik makimaninganik nangirpikangman. Ukwa pimmariugigakit ukangusuttakka at yaktavut pirokpimmi. Ukausivut at tanersimappat kayusinerto. Atuktaungin nakat kayusinerto. Anniriyaularipat kayusinerto. Kinguliut yaungin nangipat kayusinerto. Uppirijaularipan kajusinerto. Takusautitaularipan kajusinerto. Amma umatikungatitaularipan kajusinerto. It's my honor to be here with everyone during this amazing week of sharing, of visioning, and looking at some more ways to be inspiring within our communities. According to my vocabulary list, this future that we are embarking on is built on the following R words: reconciliation, reclamation, restoration, and resilience. Because I have very few minutes here, I just want to start first with a video to showcase our students in action at Piruvik. Piruvik Center is a place for Inuit language, culture, and well-being that I started and founded 22 years ago. This is a success story that is still halfway in its full potential. While we have our continual perseverance, to find stable core funding, which is still active in its play. Takusauli, the video, please.
Since taking the Aulniak program here at Piruvik, it's been a huge difference for me for learning Inuktitut because I've become a lot more confident in understanding while someone is speaking to me in Inuktitut.
I feel like my Inuktitut skills were very kid level before coming here.
I'm starting to understand way more and starting to learn how to let go of my Halinati way of thinking of words and how to structure sentences.
It's opened new opportunities and new worlds. Being able to speak with my family, being able to read literature as well in Inuktitut is a really great feeling.
It's really amazing because now I can understand what's being said. I think that's one of the most amazing things about teaching only in Inuktitut.
From now to the end of the Aulniak program, I want to be able to have conversations with people that I see out there.
For me, I'm excited to write essays. I want to write books, really put my ideas and thoughts onto paper and to communicate that well to other Inuit who speak Inuktitut.
I work with kids, so it would be awesome to speak to the kids at my work in Inuktitut.
Eventually help Inuktitut speakers who may not speak English at my workplace.
I feel like learning Inuktitut, it's a dream for me, but also here at Piruvik, it's very much a reality.
I see a real happiness and a real pride in my family and friends who speak Inuktitut whenever I do speak it, and I just want to be able to extend that into deeper conversations.
Inuktitut uqallagum naqaruartillunga ayoqunne uqaqkanneq juume qatta nealaqama
Hawdi mangat paaro mata ullumi atungmapu la ilunnatin tuttilu
Pileraarivatsangi piugillariksugit pigiallihaartillugu tuhallihaartillugi Hanukuveagimmaarsugi qauyimalauqama kayuhitsaarnerimeartangani Piruvik neriungeqarvigil siamearkhimagakku taikuallu neriugihimayakka Pirupallianginnarsuti takutitsivallianginnarma Piruvik ilinnaartitsiariaqartalerarta nakingaarniptinni kinauniptinnik Pirukhayau himangillermata nutaqqa Pirukhayaunerilaukhimayartini ajigingillarilermagu taqqaanguan
ona inuinnartup
Ako tigi nakuro upperai nakuro makipalianiakto kakowo iyo magadaima aulay ng mat kuya uppeakto nga ilaw kaulikapta inuin nakipiglo pitkoherlo ilit kohak ukawak podlo upperai ako makipalianiakto ikayo may nako nga kanok tulaka ilaw dama koveo tunga.
Kuvegit tiamme että kanok aulettiin mga okauhiumikhaanu inuhiptamikhaanu lohapkuat atoktoktavut hatqittaunit pata puiuqtauniaqaluarmingmata ublumimut tautukhugit kulliit hivulipta annaumatjutait oqquutjutait iglumi niqiliortait utiqtitauallialangmata quviuruttiarmiungattauqma una nutaangummat hivumuppaarlialerummit taavunga nunallaanun hiammut palliarumit atuutartian niarmatattau inuittimni
taamna perorpik ima nammarattia piuvitara inuurtorutipta hivunikstanganu toraangamma taamna perorpik aulaninga iliharvingnut nunalinnut ilaliuteqummaриттаqa illuanni iliharviu ilinniarviu illuanni qataulunni
Inu sindi ilipalleagona pero bemme iulamo semayu uvannu ilinya katak semare jalimani huyalimma tuma hawi kanirama inui kusinginne angka buriyatinni utirama angin pannu nunatserummu takkiraptime aleana gusulaptuma ilinna titsilavama ilanlik nunuttinni aanniarvinni ililaptuma saanu inuktituinga uqallattialeruma inuktitut ilissaayuulaaquma yuna
Hujalivogullu uvageqqanayartiujugussilaktusarpimmi ilinniarunnalaugatta peqorpimmi inuktituinna aqqaagukasammik taqqinnik hulinnik pilimmatsasaullutta ilisayitsaunarming innarnu inuktitut ilinniaqattalaortutigut uhausikkut inuttuinna ilinniaqattalaortugut innunguumititauqqanneqatta nakingaarsemanittinniluttukisititauqqannertuta silattukannertutalu ammalau iqqanayaqatikiingajugum silattussarpimmi qanigiilikkanertukut Huviagilauttarali tamanna inuktituinna ilinnialaorsemamigama ilisayitsaunnamu hallunnaatituinna ilinniartitauhattartuta pikkanartualulaorsemamma uqauserngautikinagu uqausittinni atuhattalaugatta hallunausa riaqarmatalu ilaanniku hallunausikallagaigatta tamalliikallagaigattalu uqautsioqanneqattalaortugun Amalo ilinnialaugatta isumaalunnata naammagisaunianginarmik tamanna hujalitsutikikaka. Amalo hujaligumammiugattau innarnu uvattinni angijuttinu ilinniartitauhattalaumigatta makununga tamakko atsoali ikajulaortu piqorpittau ikajuksuqqavut ilinniartitseqattarninga inuttitut aquqaqonnartunut tukisiajunullu inuttitut ammalu uqariorsaajunun
That was one of my examples of a typical cohort that we get at Saqut, which is our land-based campus. Our center is based in the city of Iqaluit, our small center. And I hope the video spoke to you without me having to elaborate on it. And I just want to take this opportunity to conclude with a couple of my keywords that are from my dialect. The first keyword is ingalangaitok, which means an elevated level, like one would be on a mountaintop. This conference, from my perspective, is all about that. Going up to an elevated level, to scan out into distance, to iggaoyak, picking up our binoculars to see the big picture. As managers, as leaders, as decision makers, that word belongs to us, which helps us to manifest our dreams, helps us to organize and inform our goals and actions, and helps us to lead from the heart. Since it's the highest level of visioning, we can choose to equip sturdily with intention and our ancestral wisdom. View a better world that is yet to manifest. At this level, we gain insight into our authentic resourcefulness, a trust in the yet unknown, like charting out into an uncharted territory, like our finest hunter, trusting his skill. My other keyword is kiyik, belt of courage, B-E-L-T, of courage. My example in this case is the Nunavut dream, which was born from a courageous dream. And it belongs to now and tomorrow, as we envision a world for tomorrow's children, a better world than today. Our Nunavut territory, as many of you know, is 3 time zones. Our Nunavut leaders believed it as something attainable, like not fearing something bigger than us. Nunavut dream is big, it's grand, and it's a masterpiece. It's a dream that painted a better tomorrow for us Inuit of Nunavut, better than what we were living through during the era of colonization, when we had no say, when we were on silent mode. The dreamers, the visionaries in this case, were our young leaders of the day. Having been educated through the colonial system, but having just come out of one of the most resilient cultures in the world, they became grounded in both. Their sense of purpose, ambition, contradiction, all were great ingredients to continue forging forward no matter what. Setbacks, refusals, lack of support from all directions did not deter them. Their minds were set on attaining that signature, to attain Inuit control. And here we are, taking part in the manifestation of this amazing Nunavut dream, 30-odd years later into its journey. Let's always believe in our great potential, because this country needs us. Nakomik sivu nakatianakusi.
Thank you very much to each of our panelists. I will note how powerful all these women are. Isn't that awesome? And I think what a tremendous plenary to end and conclude this conference, to end the conference with a plenary based on and focused on culture, I am of the view that all our modern treaties, that culture and language, our cultures and our languages were the catalyst that motivated us and motivated negotiators before our time to achieve the modern treaties that we have currently. Thank you so much for your contributions.